funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
You're tired.
Well, the lunchtime whistle and the morning's finally done. I'm jumping in my car, I'm gonna have a little fun. The Doghouse Network's on my radio dial. Big Dog's taking care of business for a while. If you're listening to another station I don't understand, 'cause nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
Give us a call, Steve.
He's a northern-bred, southern-fed, slick-talking guy. Listeners in his posse are the Junkyard Dogs. The SEC from Tennessee to calling them hogs. From Gainesville up to Lexington to the Titan Tiger Land, nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
It must be Wednesday. I called it hump day.
Uh-oh. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Mike. What day is it, Mike? Let's guess what today is.
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
Yeah, baby! It is hump day in the doghouse. Welcome in on Independence Day Eve. It is our final show of the week before we jump into things next week, which will be our final week before heading to Dallas for SEC Media Days. Now, in the meantime, over the next couple of hours, I got a lot of ground that I want to cover. We'll see how much of it that I can get to. But one of the things that I was reminded of yesterday is that it was 15 years ago tomorrow that Steve McNair was shot and killed in his Love Shack condo by a 20-year-old waitress from Dave & Buster's, who the 36-year-old McNair was having an affair with. The whole thing was very sordid. And I remember the day vividly. It was a Saturday. And I'm sitting on the couch in Franklin, Tennessee, around 1 o'clock. I'm watching a golf tournament or something when a panic call came in. And I saw the crawl go across, the breaking news crawl go across the screen, and then the phone started ringing like crazy, and I was summoned to the studio on Music Row to get on the air ASAP, where I stayed on the air for the next several hours, sorting through the info as it was coming in, as sketchy as it was. Nobody knew what had happened early on, just that there were two people in McNair's condo that were dead. We were taking calls from grief-stricken listeners and just trying to glean as much information. We were carrying live press conferences from downtown and so on. So this all went down about 2 miles from our studios. And since I was close to several Titans and ex-Titans and coaches, including head coach Jeff Fisher and offensive coordinator Mike Heimerdinger, and several front office people, I knew stuff that I could not go on the air with. Just general things that I could not go on the air with. Former All-Pro left tackle Brad Hopkins was one of my broadcast partners at the time. He was very close to Steve. Brad spoke at the funeral and was a pallbearer and was very friendly with Steve's family. So was Eddie George, who I became friends with through my work with the NFL alumni. And when I would broadcast from Titans training camp, McNair would often stop by. This is, remember, after he retired from the Baltimore Ravens. McNair would stop by my tent to yuck it up, talk some fishing. He loved to talk fishing. He was close with Vince Young. He was a mentor to Vince Young, who also had a key to the Love Shack. Things that we didn't talk about then. But, you know, Vince being from Texas and Steve being from Mississippi, they both loved fishing. They knew I was the host of Southern Bass Radio at the time. That was pre-Bassmaster Radio. They would come by to 10 because sometimes I would have to record Southern Bass Radio right from there or do it live. Actually, we did it live in those days, so I would stay on the air because I did afternoon drive. I would stay on And then I would go right into, Southern Bass Radio. And McNair would come by and sit down, and Vince would come by with a towel and make like he was casting with a towel and so on. So we were close to these guys. And they would come in and visit with former Titans president Jeff Diamond, who also worked with me in those days. So Jeff would be on site with me. And, Al Smith would be on site with me, and Brad Hopkins would be on site with me. The guys would rotate. We did every day of training camp. We'd do 9 or 10 straight shows from training camp back then. So McNair's inner circle was very protective of him. But I couldn't shake the double life that this guy seemed to live. I was an outsider. You couldn't talk about it around town. But here was a guy with a beautiful wife and 4 beautiful sons and a beautiful home in Brentwood, Tennessee, that kept a love shack 10 miles from his house in downtown Nashville, down near the river, just across the bridge from the Titans Stadium. And he had multiple affairs with multiple women at the same time, including when he was killed by Kazemi, allegedly. So we were left to believe that this girl, Sahil Kazemi, just turned 20 years old, 16 years younger than McNair, who had never shot a gun in her life, bought a pistol the week before and shot Steve McNair at close range, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times, twice in the chest, right chest, left chest, exit wounds out kidney area in his back. There's a file over here. Tom Abraham Show background material. I have his autopsy. I have a copy of the autopsy in there. Once in the right chest, once in the left chest, almost perfectly symmetrical. Both exit wounds around the kidney. So from the top down, think about it. The entry wound was, high above the nipples, and the exit wound was kidney area. So it was from standing. He was asleep on the couch. This man she was madly in love with, who had bought her a Cadillac Escalade and was paying her bills, hit him right chest, left chest, and then right temple, left temple, or left temple, right temple. We don't know the order. In the temple, close range, close range. Didn't double tap him, 4 tap him. Then turned the gun on herself and shot herself in the head. It was almost a perfect symmetrical pattern. A 20-year-old girl who had never shot a gun before. I never bought it. A lot of people never bought it. But the police closed this case basically in a matter of days. McNair was not who we thought he was. Look, he was always great to me. He was always very friendly. He was not who we thought he was. He's just not. I know that, look, he played with fire. He danced with the devil. People would see him around town all the time with various women that were not his wife. That sounds harsh. I get it. And I get the apologists, mostly his former players. I understand that. And I understand why, his former teammates. I understand why, because it scares the hell out of them. Because it could have been them. There, I had to say it. I put it out there. We said to say it. Jeff Diamond will be joining us in a few minutes with his thoughts. Also today, we're about halfway through the baseball season, Major League Baseball season. The second half has begun for the Trash Pandas as well. They're off to a good start We got some country hardball to talk about with Josh Carey of the Trash Pandas, who have a big week this week in Birmingham, or at home against Birmingham, at Toyota Field against Birmingham, and there'll be fireworks galore. Phone lines are open, 256-576-4977. The exclusive text window to the Tom Abraham Show is 732-9TA Show, 732-982-7469. It's a great way to communicate with us. My X feed is at Tom Abraham Show. The station's feed is at 97.7 ESPN. We're on Facebook at 97.7 ESPN. You can get a link there to our YouTube channel, WZZN TV. And you can tune in on the YouTube channel, which I'll have to adjust my camera a little bit because I look like I'm about to go down below my name. A little bit low. I'll adjust that here at the break. Like and subscribe on the YouTube and get the notifications. Go to 977ESPN.com, get links to all that stuff. Get our app as well. Look for 97.7 ESPN The Zone from your app store. There you can find a link to Zone 2, 3, 4, and 5 as well. Our alternate streaming channels from more great programming. Snag that Talk Radio WZZN app as well. You'll get Fox News and Fox Sports programming, plus the Rocket City Trash Pandas. We're also on 97.7-2, not Zone 2-2. That's different. That's an over-the-air channel. 97.7-2 on a digital radio. For all that is going on at the station, including our remote schedule and our play-by-play schedule, when the next zone deal drops, which is this Friday, just check out our calendar at 97.7ESPN.com. I want to take a more pleasant trip down memory lane today as well. With the SEC doing away with divisions this year, let's go back and revisit the matchups that would have been back in the past had we not had divisions. I mean, we know that in 2022 it would have been different. Alabama would not have been in Atlanta beating Georgia in 2022. It wouldn't have happened that way. It would have been Tennessee in a rematch against Georgia, which was in a three-way tie with the Tide and LSU, both of whom they beat. Remember, they went to LSU and throttled LSU, and then they beat the Tide when the Tide had 17 penalties and couldn't stop a cold. As Tennessee went up and down the field, Alabama still had the opportunity to win late, missed the pass, missed the play. Tennessee takes about 2 plays to get down in field goal range, kicks a field goal, tears down the goalpost, and throws them in the lake. But what about the other years? How many other times would there have been rematches? How many other rematches would there have been? Would Alabama and Auburn ever have played in the SEC championship game the week after the Iron Bowl? So we'll go back and revisit history. Over there in that little glass room with the slanted ceiling, playing the Platters That Matter and the Stacks of Wax, answering the phones, keeping us on the air. Used to dip, but no longer does. It's the Bandy Man for one more day.
Just a pinch between my cheek and gum, and I get full tobacco pleasure. And since I don't light up, I can use it doing almost anything.
What is your name? Detective. It doesn't matter what your name is. Who in the blue hell are you?
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together out of spit and polish.
I think this is one of the traits of a really good producer. Keep the talent happy.
As an intern.
You don't ever say that to me. Bullcrap.
It really doesn't matter what you think. All right? It really doesn't matter what you say.
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
If I were the man I was 5 years ago, I'd take a flamethrower to this place.
I could use a good ass kick, and I'll be very honest with you.
Underestimated from day one. You'd never think I was a master of the universe now, would you?
Roll tide.
Dead on, balls accurate.
Satisfaction is guaranteed. Welcome.
Just a pinch between my cheek and gum.
Candyman. Yeah, the Candyman can.
Candyman, not the candy.
Oh, the Candyman can, 'cause he mixes it with love and makes the world taste good.
He's the Bandy Man, not the Candy Man. He's not the Bandy, he's the Bandy Man. If you were the Candy Man, what kind of candy would you be? I mean, would you be like a Reese's peanut butter cup? I mean, what would you be if you were,
Oh, easily a Reese's Fast Break.
What's Fast Break?
It's
See,
like
this is This is these things I don't even know anymore.
Oh, it's just a peanut butter and chocolate candy bar that Reese's makes, and it's one of the best things. It's one of the best things they've ever made.
Now, do you put yourself up there? And I have the YouTube TV, the WZZN TV on in the studio here. I see just me. You're talking, but I don't see you. Do you put you up there too? Do you do? There you go.
Yeah, I do.
There he is.
It's kind of a little bit of a delay.
Oh, okay.
A little bit.
So there's a little delay there. So he got himself on there. All right, that's a good job by you. Let me ask you a question, Mr. Bandy Man.
What's going on?
Have you ever shot a pistol?
I have.
What kind of pistol? Was it like a 9mm, a 45? What kind of pistol?
I've shot both 9mm and 45 ACP.
How old were you when you first shot the pistol the first time?
When I first shot a pistol, I would say
first time,
16.
18, 19, 20, 16 years old? Okay.
16.
So you were 16 years old the first time you shot a pistol. And you were shooting at a target, right? Were you in a place?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I think down in Boaz, maybe.
All right. So you were in one of them when you first pulled the trigger. So you're shooting at a piece of paper, okay? Right. So when you first shot it, when you first pulled the trigger the first time, and the first time you felt that kick in your hand, did it shock you a little bit? Did it set you back a little bit? Did it, just kind of give you a slight pause?
A little bit. Yeah. Because you're not used to something like that.
Right. I was 13, 14. I guess 13 the first time I shot a pistol. My dad used to carry a 45 in his briefcase. Don't ask why. Just he did. And so he took me out back at the ranch at the farm, and he says, it's time you learn. I had my own pellet gun, to hunt small game from the time I was 10 years old. It was rite of passage. 10 years old, you got a pellet gun. You got a rifle. It was a rifle though, not a hand pellet gun. But when I was 13, he says it's about time you learn how to fire a pistol. So he took me out back, and I fired his pistol. He put a target up on a tree. I fired his pistol, and I almost dropped it after I fired it. I mean, it shocked me. It was like, damn.
Oh, you were shooting a 45 at 13 years old?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
dang.
The thing had a little kick. So you're about the size of a 19-year-old girl.
All right.
20-year-old girl. So can you imagine now the first time you ever pulled the trigger? Can you imagine the first time you ever pulled the trigger shooting a person 4 feet away from you that you love, that's sleeping on the couch, a human being, pointing that gun at that human being and shooting that person on a couch?
I can't. I honestly can't imagine it. Like the mental gymnastics, everything going through your head.
Yeah. So then after you've done it the first time, when you've actually fired the first shot, and you're a 20-year-old girl and you fired the first shot you ever fired with a pistol, I'm like, you drop the gun, you shriek in horror, you run out, whatever. No. You then you shoot the first time through the heart at your sleeping lover. Then you aim a foot to the left and shoot them again, almost in the exact same spot on the other side in the right chest. After you've shot them, then you shoot in the left chest, almost in the same spot. Then, after you've shot them twice, and your 20-year-old girl and that's your lover on the couch, it's now bleeding after you shot him twice. Now you walk up closer to him, and you put the gun up against his temple and shoot him in the head on one side, and then you go on the other side and shoot him on the head on the other side. I mean, and then you put the gun up against your own head and kill yourself. I mean, does this seem likely? Am I watching too much Law and Order? Am I watching too many cop shows on TV or something? I watch too much Blue Bloods. Does this seem likely that this girl could do that?
I can't say it. I can't say it does. I really can't.
I didn't buy it.
That's too crazy.
I didn't buy it.
For your first time ever shooting a gun?
It's nuts. And she had an ex-boyfriend who thought that she was going to be breaking up. There's texts between her and McNair leading up to it that, for the 2 days before, soon we'll be together, blah, blah, blah. And yet the boyfriend says that she was getting ready to break it off with McNair. He was upset that she was dating a guy. She had moved to Nashville from Jacksonville, Florida, with her ex-boyfriend, who wasn't her ex-boyfriend at the time. She had broke up with him. She started this affair with Steve McNair. And McNair he had slept with another girl in the Love Shack 2 days before this happened. And she thought that that they were a thing. And the ex-boyfriend is saying, Norfleet, he's saying, oh, no, she was going to break up with him. We were getting back together. I think he shot her.
Has there been a 30 for 30 on this yet? Or anything like it?
That's a good question. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know.
That's a Law and Order episode.
It is. It is. The events you were about to see are not real. They probably did do a Law and Order on it, I would think. All right. Anyway, I just throw that out there. I just throw it out there. All right, we'll get a break. When we come back, Jeff Diamond will join me. We won't be as harsh with Jeff. I mean, Jeff was tight with Steve like a lot of guys, but we got to be real. We got to be real. We'll be back. It's the Thom Abraham Show. More after this.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandyman. At noon, it's the Thom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
Celebrate and honor those who have served our country. The annual Military Tribute Night at Toyota Field is Saturday, September 14th. For the 5th straight year, the USA Patriots amputee softball team will square off with the local veterans of AUSA. The patriotic extravaganza will be capped off by a post-game fireworks spectacular. Tickets are $10. Get yours at trashpandasbaseball.com/events.
That never happens.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And this is the most important part. We'll treat you like family because that's exactly what we are.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And I'll go you one better. If you can't come to us, we'll come to you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
And that's a good sound. That is a good sound right there. Welcome back, Thom Abraham Show. This segment brought to you by North Alabama Mortgage. Whether you're in Tennessee or in Alabama or down in Florida, doesn't matter where you are in the region. It's North Alabama Mortgage. They've got the tools to help you get rid of some of that high interest stuff and that high consumer debt that you have by using the equity in your home. And you say, "Dog, what are you talking about? Those interest rates are pretty high." Well, first of all, those interest rates are nowhere near as high as those credit card interest rates are and some of those other things that you have. But it doesn't matter because you go ahead, you refi, you use the high equity in your home, and then you turn around and refi when the rates drop. You can do it just that easy. Learn more at North Alabama Mortgage. Brian Hammaker and his team, they can take care of you right there at North Alabama Mortgage. All right, joining us now, my good friend Jeff Diamond on this eve of Independence Day, our last day of the week that we'll be doing radio this week. And Jeff joins us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Jeff, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Tom. How are you? How's your family?
Everybody is doing great. Just got back from the week in the North Georgia mountains with my wife on our little anniversary trip that we take all the time. And I played a track. If you ever get back down this way, I played a track in Blue Ridge, Georgia, called Old Toccoa Farms, which in 2020 was rated the number 8 new course in America. And $95 for 18 with the cart and all the range balls you can hit. And Jeff, I've been playing golf since I'm 13 years old, and this was the best, most lush, unbelievable mountain course that I've ever played in my life. I mean, I'm telling you, I know you appreciate a great fairway. Zoysia grass fairways, the ball always looked like it was on a tee when it was in the fairway. Soft, not a weed. It's what I imagine Augusta is like. That's how beautiful this place was. And, I mean, a tough track, but Old Toccoa Farms, it's worth the pilgrimage. They got cottages and stuff right on the course. It's worth going down there and checking it out.
Okay, I'll have to write that one down and save it for someday. My brother lives in Atlanta, so maybe it's not too far from there. I don't know how far it is from Atlanta.
It is 1 hour and 10 minutes from Atlanta. I mean, it's literally, you just drive up there from Atlanta. It's Blue Ridge is right up it's not far from Atlanta at all. So,
good. Old Toccoa.
Old Toccoa Farms. Yeah, it's Old Toccoa Farms. They got cottages on it. They got a nice little restaurant. We ate at the restaurant after played, and it's just a great track. And you turned me on to the track up at Swanee, and I finally got up the mountain. I live right at the base of that mountain. I finally got up the mountain and went to the golf course. I go to Swanee all the time, go through there all the time, but I never went over to the course. Went over there and checked out the course. What a nice track, and what a good deal they got. $1,000 for the whole year for membership. All the golf you can eat. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw your text, and I played at Swanee a lot when I was in Nashville. I had a buddy that was at Tim's Ford, and we would drive over, and yeah, it's a beautiful track. It's only 9 holes, but you can do different tees for the other 9, and there's some really picturesque holes that oversee like the whole valley. It was just beautiful.
Yeah. I don't know about you. And you're hardcore now. I mean, are you still single digit? What are you, about 8, 9, somewhere in there?
Well, I've lost a little distance.
Haven't we all? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm about a 10 now, but still hit it okay. Okay.
I bought a new set of woods, old man woods, that got a little flex in them, and that's what I get because the swing speed has gotten so slow. But but it is nice. I am to the point where 9 is about right for me now. We actually have a little one right down here that is a 12-hole course, believe it or not, and it almost feels like 12 is just about right. It feels like it's so hard to block out a 4 to 5 hour window anymore to go slip out and play 18. So I kind of play. I played a 12-hole deal, or I play 9.
Yeah, I do a lot of 9s too, and I help a course south of Minneapolis with some marketing, and I play out here a lot and different places. So. So it's still fun to get out and still enjoy it. And this morning I parred the first 5 holes and still shot 85.
There you go. That is Jeff Diamond. By the way, I highly recommend a book. I highly recommend a book by Jimmy James. We had him on last week. Jeff and I just talked golf. I had him on last week. He retired from ExxonMobil at age 58. He came from poverty. Rose all the way to be a major executive at ExxonMobil, African-American guy. It's a great story. And then he set out on a pilgrimage at age 58 to play all 100 of Golf Digest's 100 greatest courses in America in one calendar year. And it's
That's
a
pretty
fascinating.
good.
Oh, it's fascinating. He crisscrosses the country. It's a great book. It's by Jimmy James. From Playing from the Rough is what it's called. Is the name of the book.
He got on Augusta and Pine Valley.
It all started with Augusta. His wife actually got him on Augusta as they're both highfalutin, and she's a big time, a dean or something at Miles, or not Miles, or one of the colleges in Atlanta. She knew somebody who got him on Augusta, and she did that for his retirement gift. And then that's what spurred him on. He said, you know what? Now I've played Augusta. Now I want to go play all the other, 99 courses in America. And what he did was he networked. He was an executive, so he knew how to do that. But he networked, and he would meet people at different courses, tell them what he was doing. Oh, I know a buddy at Pine Valley. He can get you on there. Oh, I know somebody at Medina. He'll get you on there. Oh, I know somebody at, And so, that was the way it did. And only Bethpage Black and maybe Pebble, most of them are private. So he had to kind of finagle his way onto some of these courses. Some of them right up there in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, I'm sure. There's great courses everywhere in America, that's for sure, definitely.
Yeah, fascinating book. All right, tomorrow's 15 years. I mean, can you believe it? 15 years tomorrow from that fateful Saturday where we got word that Steve McNair had been killed. And I remember having to rush to the station. And it was 4th of July, and, stayed on the air for 4 or 5 hours. Just your recollection of that and the immediate aftermath of it when you got that word.
Yeah, it was shocking, and Steve was one of my favorite guys in my NFL career. As far as players I worked with, just a great guy and great teammate for everybody, and it was really shocking when I got the phone call, and I was actually at a dog park in Nashville. I think in can't remember exactly which one, but Diane, my wife, and I were there and got that call. I think Hope Hines called me from Channel 5 and said,
yeah,
I need you to come on the air and talk about Steve McNair. I said, well, what do you mean? He said, yeah, he got killed. I said, oh, that's unbelievable. So it was just really just a sad day to hear that news. One of my favorite guys, and our quarterback on our Super Bowl team with the Titans.
Yeah. And it was something that, not only did I do radio with you through those years, also several ex-Titans, and we became friends with a lot of those guys and so on. So, it was so raw. We had to be very careful with how we handled it because everybody was talking in loving fashion about McNair. He's everybody's buddy, good old country boy. When we were at Titans doing the show from Titans training camp and stuff, he'd come over by the tent if he was there and so on. He was mentoring Vince Young, and but he had this weird double life, right? I mean, that was the thing. His beautiful wife, 4 beautiful sons, beautiful home in Brentwood, and yet he has a love shack 10 miles from his house. It was crazy.
Yeah, it definitely was, and as you said, almost like a split personality that we didn't really know in those years, and of course this was later in his career, but it was, as I said, really shocking to hear that news and that he had got himself involved with a bad situation.
Yeah. Was it something that during his playing career, I know you guys try to keep tabs as much as possible on players. Was it something that anybody had any kind of idea that he was messing around like that and really playing with fire? When you talk about multiple affairs and it was documented later and so on, was any of that? Were you aware of any of that, or did it not seem like his personality was like that?
No, I mean I was certainly not aware of it, and knew his family and his wife, and of course knew Steve very well, and saw him every day at the facility. So no, it's just as I said, really, we didn't really have any kind of an inkling that something like that was going on, and as I said, this was after his playing days.
Mm-hmm.
At least when I was with him, since it was 2009. You're saying?
Yeah. Yeah. So it was he had, I think it was about 2 years maybe out from Baltimore.
Yeah, so he had actually retired by then, and so it is actually one of the things that we always worry about. And of course, as you know, I work with an agent firm now, and we always talk with our guys about preparing for life after football, and it's kind of a big adjustment for players, and that could have been part of the issue there, that it was just tough for Steve after his football career was over. At that, I hadn't seen him as often, obviously, since I had left the Titans 5 years earlier than that. But what a sad day to go to that funeral, and just awful.
Yeah, and we also did radio with Brad Hopkins and some other players were regular guests on, and got to know Eddie George and so on through the work I was doing with the NFL alumni and all of that. And like I said, you had to be very careful, and the guys were very much protective of him and his family. After all of that had gone down, a lot of the guys were helping out with the boys and all that kind of stuff. But I sensed also that it was a wake-up call for a lot of guys, because this is something that is not uncommon with pro athletes, and you could almost hear the fear in some of their voices. I remember talking with Brad Hopkins about it, and it was like, could have been me. I think there was the mentality of a lot of guys, is it could have been us, and so you wonder whether or not this story gets told now 15 years later to young athletes that are in the league now, that this is the kind of stuff that can happen if you get yourself mixed up in the wrong situation.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's what the NFL tries to do with the rookie symposium. And certainly teams make a much more concerted effort now, even in with the veteran players during training camp, to do seminars with them, but especially focusing on the younger players and just talking with them about don't get yourself jammed up in a bad situation. Be careful who you're hanging out with. Be careful when you go home. It's really, Tom, one of the things I always worried about this time of year. When the players, it's after the off-season program, it's after OTAs and minicamp, and the players are let free until really the week about July 23rd or so, when they start reporting to training camp. And I always worried about this time of year, because they're going back home and kind of getting back with their buddies from high school and all that, and it could be a problematic situation, and a lot of things go down during that kind of break time. We saw that just a couple of weeks ago with the Chiefs defensive lineman, Isaiah Buggs, who got himself in trouble a couple of times, and the Chiefs end up releasing him. And so it's just, again, something that we always talk to our players about, that especially when they have a lot of free time, you worry about that. And it also makes you appreciate the guys that are doing the right stuff and making sure that they're minding their P's and Q's, and it's really one of the things in the agent business now, that we're very careful who we recruit, because we don't want to deal with the guys that are getting jammed up and getting messed up with tough situations, bad people, and so unfortunately that happened in Steve McNair's case, which is just so sad that he should be right now enjoying his family, enjoying his retirement.
Grandfather by now, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, and appreciating the great career that he had, appreciating that he was a Super Bowl quarterback, an MVP in the league, and not have something like this as part of his legacy.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Jeff Diamond with us, former Titans president, talking about Steve McNair tomorrow, the 15th anniversary of Steve McNair's tragic death, and of course the young lady as well, Sahil Kazemi. Did you ever, I mean, I got to think about these things and talk about these things because I'm a sports talk radio host, but as the years went by, I had a hard time with the whole story. I mean, they closed this case so fast, and I had a hard time with the whole sordid affair, including the fact that, a 20-year-old girl who had never fired a gun before in her life, had bought a gun a week before and shot somebody she supposedly loved 4 times, twice in the chest and twice in the head, from close range while he slept. It just didn't add up to me. Did you ever think about it and say, I wonder if there was more to this story?
I don't really think so. I think it was just a bad situation, whether he was going to end it or whatever was happening, or if there were alcohol involved, or who knows what could have happened.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there are just so many scenarios that you can think of, and in the final analysis, it really doesn't make any difference because the end result is terrible.
No, there's no doubt about it. It was an awful situation. All right, before I let you go, one quick question about a current scenario that was unfolding. That this whole Aaron Rodgers, Robert Saleh, Jets unexcused absence, which Saleh said he knew about, which to me would make it an excused absence. But I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around how somebody who came out, as Aaron Rodgers did last year, talk about having to get rid of all of the garbage around. If we're going to be a championship team, we got everybody pulling on the rope together and blah, 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 blah. And then he misses a 3-day minicamp because he goes to Egypt. And he got the entire offseason to schedule a vacation. There's only just one 3-day mandatory minicamp that, he would be sending a message to the team if he's there. He doesn't need to work, but he needs to be there with his team. Don't coaches sit down, GMs, coaches, whatever, sit down with the quarterback, the star quarterback in January, and say, okay, what's your offseason schedule look like so we can plan our offseason thing around what are you doing? Oh, I'm going to Egypt in mid-June. Okay, fine. When are you getting back? Okay, I'm getting back June 20th. Okay, that's when we're going to have minicamp. You know what I mean? I mean, does this seem weird? I mean, shouldn't he have been there somehow, some way?
Absolutely. It's just, but I think it's typical of Aaron Rodgers. He says one thing, does another. He's an egomaniac. He's a narcissist. And I think that he just figures I don't need mini camp, and go ahead and find me. I don't care. I'm making $50 million a year or whatever. Although he took a pay cut down to whatever 36. Yeah. But Aaron Rodgers just does what Aaron Rodgers wants to do, and ultimately I think that is a problem when you're building a team that you want your quarterback to be 100% all the time, and he's just not going to give that to you. And I think the Jets are going to definitely live down this or regret in the final analysis this whole Rodgers deal. Whether he can stay healthy this year, whether 41 years old, we'll see. But his last year in Green Bay wasn't great, and then of course he gets hurt the next year. But I don't think Packer fans are sweating it too much because they're plenty happy with what Jordan Love did for them last year, and the Packers are in a good position now. And so it's a crazy story that happened after he says all this stuff, and that he's coming off an injury, and that he should be there. Or he's got new players to work with, new offensive linemen that the Jets brought in, and it's just I think it's ridiculous and inexcusable.
Yeah, just from a leadership standpoint, too. You know what I mean? Even if he doesn't need it, just from a leadership standpoint, you would think that the guy would want to be there, would need to be there, that the staff would want to make sure that he was there. And then they say it's an unexcused absence, which, makes it sound like he's AWOL. You know what I mean? Even though, and then, oh no, we knew he was going away to Egypt, so we decided to have our mini camp right in the middle of his Egypt trip. And I don't know, it's just weird. This is not going to end well. This is not going to be Joe Montana in Kansas City. This is not even going to be Brett Favre, the original diva. It's not going to be Brett Favre, who had a good run not only with the Jets, who had a good season with the Jets, and then also had a really great run with the Vikings, came very close to taking them to the Super Bowl, or to at least to the conference championship. So this is not going to be like that. I don't think he ends like that. I think this is more stumbling to the finish line, and is not going to look good.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tom. I think it would be surprising if he's able to go out and have a big year this year. I'll be surprised. But
yeah,
hey, stranger things have happened in pro sports, and it's possible, but probably not probable, shall we say.
Yeah. All right, Jeff, always appreciate you, man. Thanks for jumping in. I know it's a bad memory, but it's something that 15 years, something we got to talk about. And I don't understand how it's 15 years, because you and I look exactly the same as we did 15 years ago. We haven't aged.
Of course.
We look we look exactly the same. So, I don't understand. I don't understand how old my kids are.
I lost a couple of yards on our drives, but that's
all. All my kids are having babies. I don't understand how they're doing that. Why they're doing that? I mean, they're little children. I don't know why they're having babies. But
exactly.
That's a whole nother deal. All right, man. I appreciate you as always.
You too. Have a great 4th, and hi to your family, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Same to you. Appreciate you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Jeff Diamond, my former cohort. I inherited Jeff when I got to Nashville at first, and he did an hour a day. I did 3 or 4 hour show. I don't know. It's on forever, it seemed like. And Jeff did an hour a day with me every day. So, and that went on for probably 4 or 5 years, I guess, something like that. All right, we got a break in here. We'll come back. What do you think all of that? By the way, let me clarify one thing, because Grumpy sent me a text that I'm not sure if I was not clear. When I mentioned the ex, I'm not talking about Steve's ex that I was, suspect of, because he was a. I'm talking about the girl's ex, Kazemi's ex, her ex. Who said that they were getting back together, and that she said she was going to break it off with him and all of that stuff. So this guy was saying all of these things about how that was coming to an end, and yet, she goes and does this, if that's the case. And they talked to him, they investigated, but man, it seemed awfully fast. It went down awfully fast. All right, I'm going to open up the phone lines. You want to recollect it, remember it? Fine. If not, we'll move on. It's Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandy Man. At noon, it's the Thom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
Celebrate and honor those who have served our country. The annual Military Tribute Night at Toyota Field is Saturday, September 14th. For the 5th straight year, the USA Patriots amputee softball team will square off with the local veterans of AUSA. The patriotic extravaganza will be capped off by a post-game fireworks spectacular. Tickets are $10. Get yours at trashpandasbaseball.com/events.
You can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny sky this afternoon, maybe a couple of isolated showers across the Tennessee Valley. Otherwise, it is just simply going to be hot. Air temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 90s this afternoon. Heat indices are going to be anywhere between 105 to 109 degrees. We don't cool off as we head into the overnight. Temperatures only drop into the mid and upper 70s. A partly sunny sky for your Thursday. A couple of isolated showers. Otherwise, once again, temperatures climb into the mid and upper 90s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Carlos Santana is brought to you by the service department at Woody Anderson Ford. Visit Woody Anderson Ford's award-winning service department for routine checkups. Keep your Ford or other brand in perfect working order. Don't forget the certified gold pre-owned vehicles at Woody Anderson Ford as well. They are tremendous. I've bought several vehicles out of that inventory and have been happy with each and every one of them, including the two that are in the driveway right now. My wife's Mustang and my F-150, my Ford F-150. They're absolutely sweet. By the way, my son, my 27-year-old son, the natural, the one we call the natural, Bandy Man, I think you know Tommy, don't you? I think you know Tommy.
Yeah, I know Tommy.
Have you met him? You know Tommy a little bit.
I don't know if I've met him.
Anyway, he does very, very well in his business. He's a business owner. He owns several properties from Ohio to Arkansas to Alabama, Tennessee. He's just done very, very well. He was an outstanding athlete. He's OCD a little bit, but that same OCD that made him a great baseball player and a really good football player, that same attitude has made him a great businessman. He's also smart enough to come and sit down here in my office and talk and ask advice and so on. But he's done unbelievably for age 27. It's incredible. He's married, got a lovely wife. They're going to start a family here pretty soon. If I have my way, I keep harassing him. It's been 2 years now that they've been married. It's time. Let's get the family going. Anyway, he has had his eye. He thinks very clearly through everything, and he's generally very much a pragmatic type person. But he's got a blind spot for nice cars. I mean, fast cars. I mean, like muscle cars. And he has got this gorgeous black Mustang, Ford Mustang, that is a ragtop that he has done all kinds of work to modify it and everything else. And it's a really, really nice car. His wife ends up driving it now most of the time. So he has wanted a Corvette forever. He's wanted, a Corvette, but it had to be the certain one and everything else. Anyway, he went out and bought a Corvette. And this freaking thing is unreal. It's 800 horsepower. A NASCAR Cup car is 750 horsepower. This thing has 800 horsepower. The wheels on this thing got to be 15 inches wide or something. I don't know what it is. It's incredible. And he parks it right now. The Mustang is beautiful. Loves his Mustang, high performance Mustang. And now so the wife's driving a Mustang. He's driving the Corvette. And he's got another car that they drive that is like a Honda Civic, that they just run around with, keeping the miles down on both the Mustang and the Corvette. But he bought this Corvette, and I got in it and drove it a little bit with him and went out on a deserted part of a highway and was just kind of cruising at 70, and I just kind of punched it a little bit. I just gave it like a little nudge, and it went from 70 to 95 literally in a second and a half. I mean, it was ridiculous. The speedometer goes up to 220.
Oh my gosh. I've only been in a Corvette once in my life, but it is humbling experience. It's humbling. Yeah.
The power of the thing is amazing. I don't like Corvettes. I don't like the way it wasn't comfortable. The Mustang is way more comfortable. I like the look of the Mustang when the top is down more than the Corvette with the I mean, it's a high performance car. It's a good looking car. I like the sound of the Mustang better. He's got the Mustang with the big V8 in it, and I like the sound better. Personally, I like and I love the way it looks over the hood of the Mustang much more than the Corvette. I just have never, and I've been in Corvettes over the years, the different iterations of Corvettes. This thing is some G07 or I don't know what they call it. But when you sit in it, I don't like the way it looks over the hood to me. All right. But that's just to me, it doesn't look right. I like the way the Mustang looks a lot better. And I like the profile of the Mustang a lot better. My wife's Mustang is beautiful. But so anyway, he's got a Corvette. Bought a cash, Bandy Man. He bought a cash, $80,000 car. He went in there and bought a cash. 27 years old. He's 27.
Now that's humbling for me because I'm sitting here at 27.
I'm like, why would you burn cash on that? It's like, well, it's not the last $80,000 I got, Dad. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, okay, son. Good job by you. All right, coming up, top of the hour. Josh Carey joins us. We'll talk some country hardball. And then I got a fun trip down memory lane coming up as well. And some news coming from Tuscaloosa, all on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
.97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandy Man. At noon, it's the Thom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
Celebrate and honor those who have served our country. The annual Military Tribute Night at Toyota Field is Saturday, September 14th. For the 5th straight year, the USA Patriots amputee softball team will square off with the local veterans of AUSA. The patriotic extravaganza will be capped off by a post-game fireworks spectacular. Tickets are $10. Get yours at trashpandasbaseball.com/events.
So much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted it close to town with a picture window overlooking a yard. And you found it. Now when you sit down to dinner, you've got front row seats to your neighbor's daily pickleball game. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. LeBron James returning to the Lakers. According to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, he's agreed on a 2-year, $104 million max deal with L.A., includes a player option for the 2025-2026 season and a no-trade clause. James and Suns guard Bradley Beal, the only 2 players in the league with no trade clauses. The deal brings LeBron back for a 22nd NBA season, essentially becomes a 1+1 deal, allowing him to reassess his Lakers and NBA futures next summer. Lakers are working to sign Bronny James, who they drafted 55th overall last week. NL Central leading Brewers bolstered their injury-plagued rotation, acquired righty Aaron Savali from the Rays for a prospect. Tampa's expected to be busy leading up to this month's trade deadline, potentially adding players to join for a playoff push while still open to dealing away from positions of depth. Today's Wimbledon winners include Americans Coco Gauff and Francis Tiafoe.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Sports Talk 24/7 365. Your full-time sports station.
You're doing a great job. Keep up the good work.
Is 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Doesn't anyone do any work around this joint anymore?
You need to be more like a dog. Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. Guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live. Here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby!
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
And welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show. Last hour of us for this week, as we'll be off for the Independence Day holiday, and then we'll be off, of course, on Friday. Well, I say of course. I mean, we didn't have to be off on Friday, but we will be off on Friday as well. This segment of the show is brought to you by Owen Home Appliance Center, where, it's freezer season over there at Owen Home Appliance, and you can go on in there and check out the name brand frost-free upright and chest freezers. And here's the best part of the whole deal: they got them in stock right now. They're ready to go. You can get them delivered, and you don't want to waste all that high-dollar food by having your freezer go out, okay? Or all that deer that you got in there from the fall, and now you need a freezer is what you need. So while supplies last, you can get a $50 gift card towards the purchase of Wagyu beef when you purchase a freezer from Owen Home Appliance. It's Owen Home Appliance Center. Quality products, quality pricing, quality service. It's right there in the name. Go see Mike Owen and tell him the big dog said, hey. All right, joining us now, a guy who does not have the next couple of days off. He basically only gets Mondays off all season long. He is Josh Carey. He is the voice of the Trash Pandas, and he is on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Josh, welcome back. How are you, man?
Well, you know what? You say Mondays off. I actually had I had to work this past Monday, but you're right. For the most part, it's part of the gig. It's part of the grind. We all know it when we get into it, and I couldn't imagine doing anything else. So I'll take it. This is
Kind of a weird schedule right now. You did work on Monday down in Birmingham, where the Trash Pandas beat the Barons. They beat them again last night, 8-5. Got them again tonight in Birmingham, and I was confused because I'm trying to figure out. Wait a minute! I said that they're starting a big homestand with Birmingham in town this week, and then I realized, wait, tonight they're in Birmingham. What's going on? So explain to us, what does this have to do with the holiday and why we have this split in the middle of the week where you don't normally have series changing locations in the middle of a week?
Well, it has everything to do with the holiday. The July 4th holiday is annually, it's easily the biggest holiday of the baseball season, at least in the minors. It's to... I'll say it like this. It is to minor league baseball what Christmas is to the NBA, right? Mm-hmm. So you pretty much need a home game around, if not on the date, then around the date. And so what Major League Baseball has done, and I commend them for this because this is what they've done in the minors for decades and they've kept, which is, split this week, 3 home, 3 away, so that everyone gets a home game on the 3rd, and the teams that aren't home on the 3rd get the home game on the 4th. And that way you can draw a big crowd. You can get some fireworks off. You can make a bunch of money off of that. And so that's the reason why we do it. We've done it for each of the first 4 years in existence, and it's going to probably continue that way as long as it's feasible, just so everyone can get a piece of the pie for Independence Day.
All right. Well, now I understand that. That makes some sense. So they'll have fireworks tonight. And then you'll be out at the ballpark when that's going on. And then the great fireworks as Birmingham comes in tomorrow. And off to a quick start here to the second half, which, Birmingham won kind of going away in the first half. But, now the second half starts. And as much as, you and I are traditionalists and we lament this split season type thing, on the other hand, this year, it's kind of nice to wipe the slate clean and get started, all over again with the second half and an opportunity to make the playoff.
Well, yeah, and I think it's good for the fans because otherwise, why else would you come to the ballpark? I mean, really, unless you're a dedicated baseball fan, if your team is out of it by May, it's really hard to get excited to go to the ballpark, and that's if it's a major league team. If it's a minor league team, it'd be even tougher. There's just so many changes and alterations to each team's roster at the minor league level. Guys being sent up, guys being sent down, and you get guys released, and you get guys added. Obviously, the makeover of a team can be very different come June than it is in April. We haven't had as much as we've had in years past. But with that said, you like to give everyone a kind of a second chance, see how guys are improving and progressing along. And so you wipe the slate clean at the midway point of the season, and it gives everyone something to play for when the dog days of July and August roll around. So at the major league level, we don't need it, but I think in the minors, I get it. I understand it. even though I might not love it. I certainly understand what they're doing, and it works.
Now, I know there's obviously going to be a huge fireworks show tomorrow. Do we continue with the usual fireworks show? I mean, we're going to have more fireworks coming up, on Saturday, Friday, Saturday. What's the deal there?
Yeah, 3 straight days of fireworks. We're going to be the place to be when it comes to that type of stuff for the next few days. We've got our huge fireworks show tomorrow presented by SAIC. Then on Friday, we're going to have the Good Feet store sponsor our fireworks show. It'll also be Tennessee Titans night, which will be a lot of fun. You'll have a chance to enter a raffle and win a signed jersey by Calvin Ridley. We're going to have the Titans cheerleaders, and T-Rack will also be there. And then we wrap it up on Saturday with one more show presented by Avid Hotel, which has been the visiting team hotel for our first 4 years. So we've got some great sponsors on board. We've got some great shows ahead, and we got a big-time showdown with the Barons. It should be a lot of fun.
That's cool, a Titans night. No special jersey or anything like that, although you share a color palette with the Titans. Very close, really, with the color palette between the Titans and the at least the original color palette for the Titans, which is still in their logo.
Yeah, well, we're thrilled to have them. I know last year we had the Memphis Grizzlies come to town, and that actually drew a better crowd than I thought it would, just because I didn't know what the NBA audience is here. But definitely, this is Titans country. I think we all accept that. With the Falcons a close second. So having them in town, I think that'll give a nice little boost to what should already be a pretty big crowd. And, you'll get to say hi to T-Rack. I'm sure that'll be the highlight for some kids.
So Grizz last year, Titans this year, and they're going to have to be the Predators next year, I guess, Nashville Predators, which has got a big following. Of course, how big the Havoc are here in town. A lot of hockey fans, and a lot of them are Pred fans. So who knows? Maybe it'll be the Predators next year. You never know.
You know what? I would love to see that too. I'm not into hockey, so I don't quite know all the ins and outs of that. But I've always said, and this may be worth a discussion at some other time. I think North Alabama would be it already is a great minor league hockey town.
Mm-hmm.
I got to think at some point the Predators would maybe consider putting something in North Alabama, and that would be a great way to test it out. Maybe do something with the Trash Pandas and see what the response is to that. But we'll see.
Yeah, no, they should. There is a outside of Davidson County up there, and then I think Rutherford County and Williamson County. Then the next major county for them, but season ticket holders, is actually right here in Madison County. I had a lot of people go up there to catch Predator games and so on. So it would make some sense for them to make some noise in this neck of the woods. Josh Carey with us here. All right, Josh. With the big club sitting at 9.5 games out in the division and fading. I'm talking about the Angels, for those of you that don't know, the LA Angels. And in the wild card, there's 9.5 games out as well. So it's pretty much, is the expectation as you go down the stretch, if this is the way it's going to go, that they would leave their guys for the most part at the AA level and let them do their thing together? Or can we expect a ton of call-ups and see these guys going up in July, August, and into September, where half the team is going to go up and they're going to take a look at them in LA?
Yeah, I'm judging on what I've seen in years past, and every organization is different. They've done a pretty good job leaving Rocket City alone. There have been exceptions. I remember Levon Soto getting called up just as we were hitting the playoffs. But I think for the most part, they'll pretty much leave guys where they are because there's so much value at AA, and I think there's a lot of value to play for a title and for the playoffs and, playing for a championship and things like that. Also, you know what? The Angels aren't playing that bad. I'm not going to say they're going to make the playoffs. I'm not saying that at all. But, they're coming off a homestand where they won 6 of 7. They're playing pretty decent baseball right now. I just don't know. Even if they wanted to move guys up, who are you knocking out of there? I mean,
right.
The guys who are at the major league level are playing good ball right now. I think we'll know a lot more in the next few weeks between the draft and the trade deadline. I think the Angels will be sellers, and so depending upon that and what moves are made, that may precipitate a decision. But if I'm going simply on recent history, I would say that Rocket City is going to be kind of left alone right now. And hopefully they'll give us a chance to go for something like a Southern League title.
to your point, the Angels 7-3 in their last 10. There's only one team in all of baseball, not the American League, but all of baseball, that is hotter over the last 10, and that's the Houston Astros. I mean, every time you think you can step on, they're like a roach, those Astros. They just don't go away. You think they're done with the Astros. They suck, and we're done with the Astros. Do I sound like a Yankee fan? You think that these people are finally gone, and now here they are 3 games out of the wild card, 43 and 42, with an 8-2 record over the last 10. But after that, it's the Angels at 7-3, and a few other teams that are 7-3 during that period of time as well. Unfortunately, one of them is not the Braves, who are 4-6 in their last 10.
Yeah, I kind of thought the Astros would turn it around. They're just too good, and they're too experienced, and they're too smart. And frankly, that's why I keep telling folks, when you're in April and May, you got to take everything with a little bit of a grain of salt. They're going to turn things around, especially with the extended playoff field. You knew that they would have a chance, and here they are on the run. For the Angels, I'm glad to see what they're doing. The guys are getting better. Ron Washington can really manage himself some baseball. He's pretty darn good, and he gets the most out of his players. They're not beating up on the best teams, I'll admit that, but you got to start somewhere, and they are certainly better off than where they were a year ago. So they're trending in the right direction. As for Atlanta, it's a better version of Houston in that they're still a good team. They're still above 500. Maybe they won't win the division, but they should still make the playoffs. And as I've said many a time before, once you get into October, anything can happen. And maybe it'll do them some good not to sit around for a month before the playoffs start. They'll actually have to continue to play and grind into early October. That might actually do them some good.
Yeah, 9 games back of the Phillies now in the NL East, but 3 games up in the wild card. So we'll see what happens. We know the magic number for winning the World Series is like 88 now, 87. Not 105. You win in the 80s, get hot for a month, and boom, you can win a World Series. By the way, speaking of the Astros, did you see Jose Altuve get ejected for only the second time in his career, 14-year career? The other night, he clearly fouls a ball off his foot, and they call and the catcher picks it up and throws him out. And it was like, what the hell are you doing? And it was obvious that it was fouled off his foot. I don't know if it's the eye in the sky or what it is, the replay, but it just seems like the umpiring is getting worse and worse, and their union is so strong that nobody really gets. It doesn't seem like they get their feet held to the fire very much. And it just seems to be getting worse, not just home plate, but here's a scenario where a guy fouled the ball off his foot and got thrown out of the game because he argued about it.
Well, I don't know if it's getting worse. I think there's just not as much accountability because the people who are umpires and who run the union, they obviously are sympathetic toward umpires and what they go through on a day-to-day basis. I mean, let's face it, Angel Hernandez was forced out because he just wasn't very good, and everyone got sick of it. I mean, it got to a point where even the union was like, Angel, come on. I've seen umpires in the past who have made egregiously bad calls, and you see a statement released, and there's a statement by the umpire saying, hey, I messed it up, I'm sorry, all that. But you're right. As long as there's a strong union like that, there's not going to be a tremendous level of accountability. Like there's a little bit more with the players because what they do is so much more focused on. But I don't know. I think the umpiring in a lot of ways has been better because we now have a K zone. We have multiple replays. When guys do mess up, they're called out more for it. We obviously have social media, which can be a jungle. And so I don't know. I'm actually going to have to disagree with you on that. I think the umpiring is, believe it or not, better because they have to be better. Otherwise, they do get called out for it. Yeah, it's just that they don't have to go out in front of the media, in front of the cameras on a night-to-night basis and explain themselves. That's the difference.
Maybe it's that damn box, the scrutiny, now that we see it, it's the HD TV is what it is now, you know what I mean? And we can see everything so clearly. It's super slow-mo, and we could, you could see more maybe.
You know what's funny about that, Tom, though? Ever since, and K-Zone's been around a while now, yeah. I hated it at first, but you know what you learn from it? You realize just how good they are. I mean, Major League umpires are really, really good. They'll miss a few. I mean, that's going to happen. But for the most part, when it comes to balls and strikes, they're pretty good, dude. They're right on the money most of the time.
The average is 91% getting it right. So we say, wait a minute, 91%, man. You get 91%, that's an A at school. I mean, that's pretty good. There's 300 pitches in a baseball game. You get 90% of them right. That means that you got 10% wrong. That's 30 pitches, 30 times in a game when a ball was off the plate that was called a strike, that changed the game potentially. 30 times when a ball was right in a strike zone and it would have been the third strike and get the hell off the field, and it turns out to be a ball, and on the next pitch the guy lines one into the gap for 2 runs. That's a lot of mistakes, 30. And it's a human element. This whole issue about human element and look, human elements for the players to make mistakes, and not for the officiating. We have lines in football, and you got to be inside those lines. We got rules in baseball. You know, get it right. And if we had the technology, I think we need to figure out a way to use the technology, because I don't think the humans that are umpires should be a part of the game. You know what I mean? They're officiating the game, but let the players make mistakes. I don't want to see the umpires making mistakes. That's just me.
Well, you know, I don't know if you know this, but we just had a big alteration at the AAA level of minor league baseball, where they're going to have a certain amount of challenges per game on ball strike calls. And one of the reasons it used to be where you could do it for every pitch, and it just slowed the game down so much. So what they're doing is you're allowed a certain number of challenges per game to challenge ball strike calls. And what it shows you is that fans kind of like the human element. So do the players, and so do the on-field personnel. So if that's happening at AAA, I got to think sooner or later, once we at the major league level, it's coming. It's just not going to be as prevalent as we first thought. I thought that we were going to get to a point where umpires were not going to make ball strike calls anymore. Now it looks like the human element is still going to be a part of that, just with a little bit of help involved.
Especially if it's super fast. You know, the batter touches his helmet, the umpire then can get the thing, and the quiz tech will give them a tone that says it was a strike or a ball, and boom, you know, they change it right there, right then and there. So we'll see. But my understanding is with Major League Baseball, and I read the story yesterday from Gary Bettman and his quotes, they're having a hell of a time determining what the strike zone is. And the strike zone, whether it's a cube or not, because the system, the ABS system, the automated balls and strike system, judges the pitch as if it's a pane of glass at the middle part of the plate, which is 8.5 inches back from the front of the plate. And a pitch that cuts across the plate and maybe is out of the zone, maybe caught a piece of the zone at the front of the plate and then is out of the zone by the time it gets halfway through the plate, is not considered a strike for ABS when it actually is a strike. And the question is the strike zone a cube? Is it the shape of the plate and then straight up, you know, whatever it is, back of the knee to bottom of the letters or above the belt or whatever they call up and high and low? And the question is it a cube or is it a pane of glass in the middle of the plate? I thought that was very interesting, that the Major League Baseball is trying to figure out exactly how they want to determine what a strike zone is. I thought it was a cube.
I always thought it was a pane of glass, to be honest.
There you go.
I always felt as long as it catches a piece of the plate, it's a strike. So if that's the case, then it should be a pane of glass, right?
At the front of the plate, though, right? Wouldn't that be at the front of the plate, though? Yeah, well, the right now, ABS, the pane of glass is at the middle of the plate. So it's 8.5 inches back. Greg Maddux, I mean, he'd take that front first 4 inches of the plate. He'd catch the front left corner of the plate, and the ball would be, you know, it'd be in the batter's box by the time it got halfway, you know, through the plate, and it still caught the corner of the plate. It would be a strike. You know, that wouldn't, according to ABS, that's not a strike. So that's what they're having to, you know, then move the pane of glass to the front of the plate, not in the middle of the plate.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to hitters, it also kind of depends on where they set up in the box, too, right? It's supposed to be above the knees and at the letters. So if you're at the front of the box, it's going to have a different call than if you're standing at the back of the box. I always thought it was just a pane of glass in the middle of the plate, but I haven't read that. I'll have to take a look at it.
All right, I'm going to go from pane of glass to pain in my ass. I'm just going to throw this out there. It's bad enough I can't watch. Now, I got YouTube TV, and this TV situation with Major League Baseball is very annoying. It's bad enough I can't watch the Braves. I wrote a check for $167 or whatever it was so that I can get out-of-market baseball games, okay? And I live on the Tennessee-Alabama border on the Tennessee side. I pay for this now. Okay, I can't watch a Braves game because somehow 200 miles away, I'm in Braves country. Okay, fine. Okay, I get it a little bit. Last night, you know what? The Reds and the Yankees are playing in Cincinnati or in New York. That's kind of interesting. You know, the old days and everything else, and Cincinnati Reds, and you get to watch it. You know, play against my Yanks and everything. I'm blacked out. I am blacked out. I am 400 miles from Cincinnati, and I'm in the blackout area. The state of Tennessee is in the blackout area for Cincinnati, and I get it if I'm not paying, but I write the check to Major League Baseball, MLB.TV, just to watch these games, and I wasn't able to watch the Yankees play the Braves, and now I can't watch the Yankees play the Reds. I mean, this is asinine.
If you want to know why baseball at times struggles to procure fans, you just summed it up right there. I mean, at the end of the day, the cord cutting, all that, still, television and streaming are going to be the biggest revenue generators for baseball. And as long as you're cutting off fans from the product, you're going to struggle to draw fans. It's something they have always needed to figure out. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to get people to subscribe to cable packages. That's going the way of the dodo bird. So You may as well adapt. And baseball has just, when it comes to stuff like this, baseball's always been a little slow at adapting to change. Now, they're getting there with some of the smaller market teams. They got to move it along a little bit right now because there's a huge swath of Atlanta Braves fans in Atlanta who can't even get the games because they have the wrong cable package. It's silly, it's stupid, and it has to be fixed, and it needed to be fixed a long time ago.
Yeah, and like I say, if they fix it by saying, okay, we're going to create this revenue stream, we're going to create an app where you're going to pay for it, but then you get to watch your games, and then they still black you out. I'm like, what? Well, oh, so I get to watch the San Diego Padres, play the Colorado Rockies? I mean, that's what I get. I can't watch the team that's 200 miles away or 158, 180 miles away. I can't watch that game, and I'm paying you money. That's what bugging me about it. I would get it if I was just trying to for free. I wasn't paying. I didn't have the cable system that has it, and it's not on my cable system, and they're blacking me out or whatever. Okay, fine. But I wrote them a check. You know what I mean? I wrote them a check. I want to see the games. And I should be able to watch all 30 teams. That's just my rant.
Yeah, no, and you're absolutely right because if you're paying the money, you should get what you paid for, and what you paid for was to watch all the ball games. And if you take that away from people, what incentive do they have to invest in your product again? I'd be irritated. Now I get it for free because I work for a affiliated minor league team. But for Joe Schmo out there who wants to be a baseball fan, you're not giving him much of a shot here. And baseball, when it comes to stuff like this, shoots itself in the foot because they're in a different era right now. They need to catch up.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And so here on 4th of July, middle of the day, before the grilling and everything else, Yankees Reds at noon, and it's not on ESPN because that's the other thing. I mean, ESPN's carrying so few games now. I mean, it's not on ESPN. I don't know if it's going to be on TBS or one of the other places that it'd be being carried, and you can't even watch it. There is on ESPN there is 0 games on 4th of July. Not one. I mean, I remember when ESPN would have 3 games on the 4th of July. There's not one game. Not the Giants and the Braves. Not the Yankees and the Reds. Not anybody playing on ESPN on 4th of July, which is like New Year's Day for baseball. It's crazy.
But you know what? You bring up a great point, Tom. One thing that the NBA has done a great job with ESPN is market the NBA. ESPN has no incentive right now to market baseball. Right now, the biggest story on ESPN, if you turn on their morning shows, is NBA free agency, NFL free agency. That's it. Those are their biggest breadwinners right now. Baseball isn't there. And if baseball wants to get back to the table and, get involved with this, they need to come correct with ESPN or Fox or groups like that and really offer up something that's going to help promote the game. Right now, that's not the case. Right now, I think the TV deals, all the TV deals combined, the national TV deals, amount to like $2 billion. And they're talking. You hear about all what's going on with the NBA and their TV deals. You're looking at $70 to $75 billion Right now, baseball is getting blown out of the water when it comes to these TV deals, and it's having a trickle-down effect on the game as a whole. It's the number one form of marketing, and they're not using it.
I just went to the MLB.com site to see if maybe ESPN doesn't list the games that are on other networks. On July the 4th, I'm looking at it right now, every single game on July 4th, and everybody is playing on July 4th, every single game is on regional networks, except for MLB Network, which a lot of people don't get. There's a couple of games there, but every single game. So no TNT, no TBS, no Fox, no FS1, no ESPN. None of their national partners are carrying a game on the 4th of July. And by the way, the other thing you can see on ESPN ad nauseum is WNBA, which Caitlin Clark or no Caitlin Clark still gets, the numbers are dwarfed. The number of people that are watching baseball, when you add up all the regionals, number of people that watch a baseball game on any given night is 10 times the number of people that watch any WNBA game. But yet we get pounded with it because it's it's an ESPN property.
But who's backing the WNBA? The NBA.
The NBA. That's what I'm saying. It's a W. Yeah,
they're going to look out for them.
Yeah, and ESPN is compelled to carry a certain amount of their games. Yeah.
Sure, and I get it, and the NBA is doing it right. We talked about this a little earlier in the season, Tom. Is baseball dying? No, it's not dying, but it's falling behind. You're not going to catch the NFL, but you can catch the NBA, but you've got to fix stuff up like this. Yeah.
No doubt. All right, man. Appreciate you as always. Enjoy the baseball. You know what we'll do? We're going to go to the Toyota Field and watch the Trash Pandas play because we can't watch a game on TV anyway, so we might as well go out there and take in a game and do it affordably and enjoy the fireworks. How about that?
And the team's won 6 of 8. Should be a lot of fun.
That's right. Off to a great start in the second half. All right, Josh, we'll talk next week.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Josh Curry. Yeah, summing up this whole Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, they made the NBA All-Star team. Caitlin Clark's the number one vote getter for the NBA All-Star game, regardless of the fact that she's a little bit above average WNBA player. And she made the All-Star team, and the All-Star team is going to play the Olympic team. That's kind of fascinating. That's kind of cool. It's interesting that Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark are going to play together on that team. And so it's here's the juxtaposition. It's interesting, and it'll be interesting to see how it came out and what happens when they play. But if you go to watch it, you don't really want to watch it. You don't really want to watch it. That's the bottom line. If it comes to actually watching it, Kramer summed it up beautifully. Kramer said, what did he say? Kramer said, I stopped on a WNBA game last night only because of Caitlin Clark. I said, how much did you watch? He said, a few minutes. Because what happens is this Caitlin Clark's this huge story, and you feel like, okay, I gotta check out what's going on, and she's this huge story. So then you say, well, okay, let me go watch this WNBA All-Stars against the women's national team, and that sounds fascinating. And then you turn it on, and then about 30 seconds later, you realize you're watching women's basketball, and it sucks. That's what happens. In the end, you watch it and you say, yeah, okay. Good story. I'll check it out later and see how that all worked out. All right, let's get a break. We'll come back, got some phone calls, and we'll also take a pleasant trip down memory lane if I can get to that story. If not, it's an evergreen story, but I want to try and get to that. We'll see. We may or may not get to it. This is Thom Abraham Show. More after this.
97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Vandy Man. At noon, it's the Thom Abraham Show. followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
Celebrate and honor those who have served our country. The annual Military Tribute Night at Toyota Field is Saturday, September 14th. For the 5th straight year, the USA Patriots amputee softball team will square off with the local veterans of AUSA. The patriotic extravaganza will be capped off by a post-game fireworks spectacular. Tickets are $10. Get yours at trashpandasbaseball.com/events.
Out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey Wes, we show up.
Have you discovered Good Company Cafe? The place for breakfast, brunch, lunch, and so much more. Enjoy brunch all day and pair with one of our many seasonal refreshing drinks, including alcoholic and non-alcoholic options. Choose inside or outside on our gorgeous, spacious, dog-friendly patio. And have some fun with friends playing yard games in the courtyard. See catering, to-go options, and lots more at goodcompany-cafe.com. Good Company Cafe, 7500 South Memorial Parkway.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at GenSuperstore.com.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WZZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back, Thom Abraham Show. Segment of the show is brought to you by the Orthopedic Center, where thousands of area residents have received world-class care from the Valley's most trusted and experienced group of orthopedic surgeons and medical specialists. TOC services the Havoc and the Alabama A&M Bulldogs and most of the high schools in the region. They got 13 locations throughout the Tennessee Valley. So if you have an orthopedic problem and you're considering professional care, TOC is the only logical choice. Whether you have a work-related injury or got sideline playing a sport you love, you need the best care, the best physician, the best facility. Get you back in the game, and I think you'll agree that's the Orthopedic Center. Stay in the game with TOC. All right, phone lines are open, 256-576-4977. It's almost too simple to say. It's almost just too simple to say. Why can't we just have the best 15 baseball games if there is a full night, right? 30 teams, 15 games. Why can't we simply just take the best 15 to 18 plate umpires and their plate umpires, and everybody else rotates in the field, because those calls are all the same? Calling the bases, calling whether or not it's a foul ball, fair ball, down the line, home run. But the plate umpire is different. Why does everybody get to have their chance at the plate? Everybody gets a chance to put on the gear and be the plate. Why? Why does everybody get a chance to be a referee in football? High school, college, pro? Does everybody get to be the white hat? No. You got referees, you got side judges, you got back judges, you got line judges, you got umpires. Why in baseball? I mean, someday I would hope we would look back and say, this was a dumb thing. Why does everybody get to do everything? We don't do that with referees. Why can't the plate umpires be the best plate umpires? And they do it every single night. And then we don't have this problem where you've got, this one is good, this one is bad, this one's not as good as the other one. If you're doing it every night, you would be even better at being a plate umpire. Specialize. I understand why not. Let's go to lines. We start with Natty Danny. Natty Danny, welcome to the show. How are you?
It's wokeism, Tom. Everybody gets a trophy. You know that.
Yeah, but they've been doing this in baseball long before woke. I mean, it's been this way forever. It's their union. It's like, oh, everybody. Why do they all? Why not just give me the best plate umpire? You're a plate umpire, and the rest of you are base umpires.
Well, have you noticed that things are changing now? People are getting tired of the wokeism, and everybody gets a trophy. And, you see what I'm saying? You know what's going on now. The times are changing, Tom. They're going back to, moss, apple pie, God in their country. You know what I'm saying, brother?
I hope. That's not I don't know if I 100% agree with you, but I would hope that that's the way it is. It's actually the silent majority. That's what the silent majority wants, to be honest with you. I mean, most of America, that's what they want.
Yeah, well, the fourth factor I forgot to say is golf. We were at Cherokee Ridge today. I had a great time, Tom.
Yeah.
I was with Badger Larry and his son Matt and Tim. We had a great time. That course, Tom, they're really working hard on getting it back into shape. When we were there several weeks ago, the tee boxes were a mess, and they cut it and put new sod in. Those tee boxes now are nice and lush. Yeah. So and they're working the fairways with the aerator and everything. They're doing a great job. So I'm just letting you know that's the course is coming around. So if you want to play, and I know it's nothing like the one you played, but I don't know if I'm going to pay $90, Tom. That's a lot of cash.
Well, First of all, $95 is not a lot of money to play a world-class golf course. I mean, that's actually pretty cheap. I mean, you go to play Pebble Beach, it's $400, and that's if you can get on the course. You know that you have to stay a minimum of 3 nights at Pebble Beach to guarantee a starting time at Pebble Beach, and the cheapest room at Pebble Beach is $1,000 a night. So you're $3,500 to guarantee a starting time at Pebble Beach. Otherwise, you can show up and get on a waiting list. Maybe you get on the course if they'll take your $400.
Well, I'm going to Europe in the near future again. Yeah. And, Scotland, I'm not going to the old course. I'm not going to play that course. And the reason why, to me, it looks like a goat pasture, Tom. I'm not going to play a goat pasture.
It's still history, man.
Well, history, yeah, there's a lot of history, yeah. But the bottom line is it's just a goat pasture. But, I just want to let you know, give you a heads up. It's starting to come around. These courses are starting to come back. They all got the same kind of crap. I'm not sure what it was, except for Cypress Lakes down there, the Moulton area. That course didn't get any kind of damage, which really surprised me. So,
yeah.
But anyway, man, hey, listen, have a great 4th of July, you and your family and everybody. Grizz, I hope you're not listening. Hope you're enjoying yourself for a whole week and relax. And everybody, listen, man, it's called an Uber or a designated driver. It just isn't worth it. These drunk tickets these days are probably, $10,000 or better?
Yeah. No, you don't. Plus, you might kill somebody. And it might be one of my people because I got a lot of people. So don't be doing this. Cypress Lakes, by the way, I don't even know. Where is this place? In what town? Because the only Cypress Lakes I see is in Muscle Shoals.
Yeah, you got to go down. It's south. It's west of Decatur.
That's Muscle Shoals. You keep saying some other place. It's Muscle Shoals.
Yeah, well, listen. I'm not born in this state. I just came here 27 years ago. Okay,
you're
so you got to give me a little
special.
slack.
I think you're a little special. What's happening?
Yeah. Right. Well, no. All right, my man. Hey, have a great
you too.
4th of July, and everybody, please be safe.
All right. You too. Let's go from one great cook to another. LSU Lynch. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Lord, first off, let's get something straight. I know who the Bailey man is. I just did not know his name. Okay?
Okay.
You hear me?
I hear you. I feel you.
Let's get it straight. Now, I sent you a text yesterday with the 3 wide of the boat. Did you see that?
It won't play. The video won't play. I click on it, and it says not supported or something. I don't know why it won't play.
Really?
Yeah, I can't get it to play. I saw the text, and I clicked on it, And that's why I deleted it last time, because it won't play.
Well, that
I got to figure out how to get it to play.
that
Yeah,
must-
might be,
must
but I mean,
that must be that Syracuse, Tennessee phone that you got up there.
No, I'm doing it on my laptop, not on my phone. Maybe I should try it on the phone. Maybe it'll play there. But I mean, I see a lot of videos. But have you ever played the Cypress Lakes course over in Florence? Have you played the Cypress Lakes over there?
Hell no, I ain't played that. The man done lost his mind. He's confused right now. I mean, you got a Michigan fan living in Alabama. Really?
27 years he's been here, though. I mean, come on.
He's still confused. It don't matter, you know. But what was the other question I was going to ask you? Oh, yesterday, great show with the callers. You brought up the subject of corn and everything.
Yeah.
Great subject, because we had people calling in, talking about the corn. Because, you know, right now, the field corn, there's a week, my grandmother, she taught this. You know, we've been in Hazel Green since 1864. But there's a week with the field corn that you can go out there and pick it. And son, it knocks out everything. The Silver Queen, everything.
The field corn? The feed corn?
Yeah.
So in a lot of these places, you know, when they plant it, they plant the first like 10 rows are field corn, and then the table corn starts like 10 rows in, because people will like pull over on the side of the road and go grab some corn, you know, some ears of corn in the first couple of rows of corn, and so that is the feed corn, and they bury the good corn, the table corn, they bury that like in a little bit so that you can't, you know, so that people don't just go and steal the corn.
Well, see, we sharecrop out there, so, you know, the farmers are planting corn out there, and like I said, there's 1 week that you can pick it, and it's the best ever. But, yeah, I want to let somebody else talk. Look here, everybody have a great 4th of July. Be safe. Look here, I wanted to say this. It's going to be very depressing. This is what I want to talk about. Joey Chestnut is not going to be in a hot dog eating contest tomorrow.
Well, he shouldn't have done a deal with the fake meat people. I mean, if you're a hot dog eating contest guy, you can't be sponsored by somebody that makes fake hot dogs. You got to have the full beef ballpark. Don't even buy Nathan's, but it's not Nathan's fault that the guy signed a contract to be sponsored by fake hot dogs. You can't go in a hot dog contest if you're sponsored by fake hot dogs.
Hey, somebody's
Stop
got a
eating
chance
fake meat.
Somebody's got a chance to win now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
where's Kobayashi? Get Kobayashi in there. Yeah.
I mean, look here. How many of the hot dogs are they really going to eat? Maybe, 30 compared
50?
to my boy right there?
Oh, they'll get up there in the 50s. You watch.
I don't think so.
Because he used to win with 70, I think. Didn't he knock down about 70?
Right, it's like 68 right up in there. I mean, I watch it every year. But I'm going to end on this. Being an LSU fan, I'm surprised the Alabama fans did not call in and talk about tea bags and corn dogs. Go LSU.
That's what he said. By the way, speaking of Alabama fans, Justin Hill, 6'3", 220-pound, 4-star edge rusher, the number 7 edge rusher in the country, has committed to Alabama. Out of Cincinnati, Ohio, he picks Alabama over Ohio State and USC and Florida State, and decides that he's going to Alabama. Well, I tell you what, I hope that there, Kalen DeBoer, I hope he's no Brian Harsin. I hope he doesn't recruit like Brian Harsin, this Caleb DeBoer. Justin Hill, number 4 player in the state of Ohio, walks past Columbus to get to Tuscaloosa. And now Alabama is just points, 4 or 5 points, 10 points behind Ohio State. Alabama is close to having the number 1 class in the nation. Alabama's class is ahead of Georgia's class by 24 points in the composite rankings. Head of Notre Dame, head of Texas A&M, head of Oklahoma, head of Oregon, head of Penn State, Clemson, LSU, Tennessee. Auburn's at 13. Where the hell's Michigan? 18. Yeah.
Hey, where's Texas sitting at?
Texas is like 19. Texas is 17.
Ooh.
Texas is at 17 behind Wisconsin. Texas. Some of it's a numbers game. They only have 13 commits right now, as does Michigan. You know, Michigan's average commit is a 91. Michigan's average commit is 91. Texas's average commit is 90. Alabama's average commit is 93. Alabama's average commit is 93.67 grade. Ohio State's average commit is 93.7 grade, so they're the same. Georgia's average commit is 93.08. They're almost the same. Then it falls off after that. Speaking of Michigan, Keith, the Michigan fan, is next. Keith, welcome to the show. How are you?
Doing all right, big dog. How about you?
I am fantastic.
As always. Hey, I didn't realize it was 15 years since Air McNair was murdered. But
15 years.
Wasn't the girlfriend, wasn't she Arab?
Well, Salil Kazemi, they called her Jenny Kazemi, but yeah, she came from Jacksonville with Keith Norfleet, who was her boyfriend. They moved to Nashville. She then broke up with Norfleet and started dating McNair, who was 16 years older than her, and of course married with a wife and 4 kids. And the thing is that
the money.
McNair had, McNair had multiple girls. What was McNair doing with a love shack 10 miles from his house in Brentwood in downtown, a place where he could go and shag women? What the heck is that? You're married.
Did I hear you rat RG3 out? You said,
no, I didn't.
I thought you said that RG3 had a key to the place.
No, Vince
or
Young.
Other ball players.
Vince Young.
Oh, Vince Young.
Vince Young. VY had. Vince Young had it. Yeah, Vince Young used it. Yeah, Vince Young. But Vince wasn't married. Yeah, but he wasn't married, Vince Young. Vince Young was like 23, 24 at the time, and Vince was not married. So Vince would use Steve's love shack, for his little trysts with the various women and stuff. Steve's wife is a very nice woman, beautiful woman, who is taking care of his foundations and all this other kind of stuff. And he's got 4 sons. I mean, and a beautiful home in Brentwood. And he's out there sleeping with a 20-year-old girl who's a waitress at Dave & Buster's.
That's life. That's life.
That's not my life. Yeah, she was Iranian, by the way. Her mother was Iranian, and her mother was murdered when she was 9 years old.
Wow. Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
You said her mother was murdered when the girl was 9?
When the girl was 9, when Jenny Kazemi was 9, her mother was murdered in Iran.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can understand that too. I mean, but you're talking about life. Like Chris Rock said, he's paid for more abortions than a lot of people has. But you're talking about rich men. They do it all the time. They've been doing it since the beginning of time.
No, it doesn't make it right.
No, it doesn't make it right. But there's a lot of things that are wrong in this world today. But, hey, I just had to call because I did not realize they never caught the guy or person who did this.
No, they did. They said they closed the case. They closed the case in 2 days, and they said it was murder-suicide. She shot him and then shot herself. But, yeah, I mean, you fired a weapon. You were in the military. You remember the very first time you fired a weapon, how it shocked you? Can you imagine putting 4 into a human body from 5 feet away? And then you should see the pattern. I got the autopsy report. He one on each side, one over each breast, one over each nipple, almost evenly apart, and then one in each temple. I mean, you got to be kidding me.
Like a professional to me.
Exactly.
It sounds like a professional.
Exactly.
And with the police closing the case in 2 days or 3 days or a week or a month, no, that's wrong. But if you don't have people out there protesting, they're gonna get away with it. I forgot all about it. I just assumed that eventually they caught somebody.
No,
because the girl didn't do it.
I worried about her ex-boyfriend, who said that they were getting back together. He said she's the sweetest girl and she did not deserve this. What do you mean deserve this? She did this.
The
allegedly.
Couldn't shoot like that, probably.
Yeah, well, probably not.
Shoot
but
like that. Yeah.
The ex-boyfriend said McNair was making her believe that they were going to be together and everything was going to be perfect. She was very strong and independent girl, said Northfleet, a hard worker. She had a huge heart. She was very caring and very loving. Okay, so tell me that's the person who filled her lover with 4 bullets, who had never shot a gun before in her life. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right, that's it. Let's get a break. We will come back, finish with Grumpy next, right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandy Man. At noon, it's the Thom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
Celebrate and honor those who have served our country. The annual Military Tribute Night at Toyota Field is Saturday, September 14th. For the 5th straight year, the USA Patriots amputee softball team will square off with the local veterans of AUSA. The patriotic extravaganza will be capped off by a post-game fireworks spectacular. Tickets are $10. Get yours at TrashPandasBaseball.com.
But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle. The same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
This is Paul Feinbaum. Listen to me coming up today at 2. Now back to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back, Thom Abraham Show. Our final segment. Let's get Grumpy in here. Grumpy, welcome to the show. How are you?
Pretty good, man. I think if Wolverine Dan debated Biden, it'd be a pretty even match, man.
Which one would fall asleep first?
I don't know, man. But hey, listen, you guys were talking corn. I haven't heard that. I got to go back and listen to yesterday's show, man. What's your favorite veggie, man?
Corn. Corn is my favorite veggie. Corn on the cob, cream corn, even sweet corn, but mostly corn on the cob. And we're talking about the different ways to make it because it's grilling season, and I have never thrown it onto Barbie. I mean, and I've been told that it's really, really good that way. You can kind of open it up a little bit, pull the hair off it, wrap it in foil, throw it right in the grill, and I want to try that. We always just boil it.
Let me put this out there, man. A lot of the guys that listen to the show, they don't have the opportunity to grow veggies because they're either in an apartment or they're in downtown areas. But, you know, Alabama A&M has got a community garden that they put in with tractors, man. And so far this year, I've gotten squash, both butternut and spaghetti squash, green beans, corn, okra, field peas, tomatoes. So if you don't have a garden and you like fresh vegetables, you're one of the old school guys, or you're raising your kids to be old school guys, Alabama A&M has community gardens out there that are big. You can get to them on Meridian Street, south of the stadium, but they're fresh veggies out there ready to be picked for free.
Now, you got to plant your own, or is that stuff that they plant? They plant. You can go there and just harvest. Okay.
100%. They pick up the expense of planting everything. They have the tractor that does it, and the guys that do it on a good scale. But on Meridian Street, it's south of the stadium, and then you can figure it out from there. You'll see it on the west side of the road.
Very cool. My neighbor, my next door neighbor has a big, huge vegetable garden across the street, and they've got pear trees as well and apple trees, and they just two of them, and they always are giving us squash and zucchini and all this stuff, beans, more than what we would ever eat. And but we always take it because we feel bad. We're not going to tell them no. And just this morning, the woman said, "Come over and pick some peaches. We got more peaches than we'll ever eat." So we're going to probably go snag some peaches.
Those are good neighbors, man. All right, have a good one.
Appreciate you. They're great neighbors. Now, my neighbor was he was the Franklin County mayor for years, and before that, he was our state senator in Nashville. He would be back and forth to Nashville. He lived down here in Winchester, but he'd be back and forth to Nashville. So anyway, that's good stuff. All right, I'm going to hold this story for next week. All right, this year it's timeless, but it's fascinating to look back at all of the SEC championship games and see how many of them would be different had the SEC never had divisions like it doesn't have now. We know that the last 2022, last year would have been the same. 2022 would have been Tennessee and Georgia in a rematch. But starting in 93, which was the second one, the one that Florida beat Alabama in, it would have been Florida and Tennessee. The team that got screwed out of the most of these things is actually Tennessee. They're the ones that got screwed out of most of these because Florida was so good and Tennessee was right behind them in the 90s. Florida and Tennessee would have played in 93, 95, 96, 97. Would have all been Florida and Tennessee. 98. In 2001, oh my God, Tennessee. I just hate it for you. All right, that's going to do it for us. Somebody hosting the Paul Feinbaum Show is coming up next. I want to thank the Bandy Man for taking care of us this week. Grizz will be back Monday. I will be back Monday. Please be safe. Remember Independence Day, the greatest country on the face of the earth. Celebrate that and be careful with the fireworks. I'm Thom Abraham, and this has been the Thom Abraham Show. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.